Hey everyone, I am back. I was doing a live with Anna Brothers a moment ago, and for some strange reason, we had a technical difficulty. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on and what happened. And literally, my iPad just went black, and it's fully charged. So some kind of strange thing just happened. So I am glad that technology is just glitchy and tricky sometimes. So I'm not sure. It just happened, and all kind of strange things are happening with this Facebook Live anyway. And so, hey Michael, hey Mike. Hey Jennifer, and so I'm gonna see if I can bring Anna back. I think she's gonna, yeah, she's back. So let me join her. Those of you that know us, we like to get together. Anna, hey Lily, how's it going? So thank you guys for your patience.
Right. You know what? Facebook is a trip.
It was my fault. Do you know
Oh,
that my iPad literally just went black? And it's fully charged. I don't know what Craig just happened. It's like this has never happened. And so this is just strange. Hey Mario. And so we're gonna just roll with the punches. It is
yes.
what it is.
I was still talking. You had just said that you had spent a lot of time, and so I wanted to thank Monica also for noticing. But it's just so happened that you kind of touched on the basis of what I was going to talk about for productivity, and that was to track and limit how much time you are spending on a task. Okay, so you have to limit that. Take regular breaks. You need to break. You cannot just work, 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 work. Then you got to set deadlines, okay? Self-imposed deadlines. You have to set those. And then follow the 2-minute rule. And if you don't know what the 2-minute rule is, you try those tasks that you can complete in 2 minutes, do them first so you can kind of get them out of the way, okay? Just say no. We talked about this. Just say no. You can say no to meetings, no to everything. If you don't feel right in doing it, just say no. Uh, Hold standing meetings. Okay, so that's one of the ways that you can uh, help with your productivity. Also, I looked this up and it said to quit multitasking. And that was kind of one that was kind of cray cray for me because most women multitask. Okay, but
Okay, hold
it's
on.
you
You
got
know I'm not
something.
gonna agree with that. You know I'm not gonna agree with that.
I know. That's what I said. I kind of
It, it,
that
it,
was
it's,
because we.
it doesn't even sound right to me because it's
Yeah.
like, how can we be? I mean, I think I'm the most productive when I'm doing two or three, four things and I'm done with it. But
Mm-hmm.
some people are, they have to do singular activities one after the
Right.
next. I mean, and they may be more productive in their mind. Everybody's different, but I'm a multitasker. I mean, I may be doing this and I'm thinking think this other thing, and I have the TV on. I mean, then I have
Yeah.
Facebook on. I mean, I'm doing several things at one time.
Right. 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 I when I saw that one, I said, because I know that I am a very busy person and I do a lot of multitasking, but. It says that sometimes that's not efficient, and it could be possible. It depends on what you're doing. I would say more so than anything. Uh, um,
Hold on, Anna. If you're doing brain surgery, then it probably wouldn't be good for you to be doing multitasking. I'm just saying. Maybe put it in context.
yeah. And then for those people who like commute, I don't commute to work because I don't work anymore.
I do.
Okay, so it was saying when you're commuting, um, don't play games on your phone or nothing like that. Use that time to create a to-do list, answer your emails, or do some brainstorming. And this also will help you increase your productivity. Take exercise breaks. Be proactive, not reactive, and that's to me is important. Turn off notifications. I do turn off my notifications because if I don't, my phone will be ding, 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 ding all night long. Because some people have no respect for others, and they are texting and doing all kinds of things all through the night. And when I did the last upgrade on my phone, it has it so you can sleep, and the phone won't do anything while you're sleeping. Okay, it sets a time, and then it wakes up, and you won't receive any notifications. It also says work in 90-minute intervals, and it says give yourself something nice to look at and minimize your interruptions. Okay, but to me, the one that was most interesting, you got something to say?
Yes, I do. Okay.
Move on.
Now, like like for example, we get these notifications on the PMs on Facebook. So what I do is I don't like to hear them all day. That irritates me. So I do to like either 24 hours or to 8 a.m. in the morning. And so then I'll sporadically go on and check maybe every, 2 hours or something. I may go and check because to me that notification annoys me. Now I do have notifications on my phone in terms of like certain people that go live. I want to kind of know, and then it'll remind me. Sometimes I take a screenshot so I don't forget. So I'll go back and go back and look at their lives, or it may be a day or two later, but I try to sometimes things in social media will distract you, so you have to figure out how to turn it off. And so that's why I'm gonna go back to that 2 minute rule that you did. I don't do the 2 minute, I do 5 minutes. What can I do in 5 minutes? And sometimes it's actually loading up your dishwasher, organizing your laundry, and then, maybe working on one area of your house at a time. If I'm going to do something for like going back to your 90-minute task, working on that, okay, taking a break, coming back to do something else. And so you kind of want to think about, because self-improvement also involves time management. So all the elements that you spoke about, I actually did this with two different people. One was in a group and one was on my page. And so everything you're talking about, this all relates to self-improvement, because if you don't get your time management down, then you're not going to be productive and efficient in other areas. So you have to think about what barriers and obstacles are you dealing with on a daily basis, preventing you becoming more successful. Maybe you're having problems with your business because you don't have enough time to put in it. You don't have enough time to put in it because you have not managed it well. You have not, sometimes you got to come up with a system, like everybody does these New Year's resolutions, but how many people really stick with it?
Right. You're right. So, the last one that was decision making, and I think the decision making is a culminating factor of all the terms that we talked about uh, this evening, because decision making is a critical skill that applies to virtually everything that we do in life. Okay, we have to make a decision. I don't care whether it's from business or professional, from a life to health, relationships. We have to take time to improve our decision making ability for us to receive any types of benefits that be worth our time and effort. Okay, so decision making is very important, and we can pull our information from experts. But I did expound a little bit on experts the other night in one of my videos on seeking advice from them. Sometimes it can be good, and then sometimes it can be helpful, and sometimes it can be harmful. So you really have to look into that, have ways to gain clarity. So you can take a walk, you can read a book, you can meditate, things that help you kind of think before you make that decision. Sleep on it. Okay, I've heard many people say, well, I'm not going to make that decision now. I'm going to sleep on it, and then I'll tell you what I think in the morning. Okay, Try to disconnect from past results and mistakes, because when you look at your past mistakes and your uh, past results and mistakes, it kind of gets into your mind and it will affect you making a decision. Slow down to gain a better perspective and improve your ability to react. So, to me, this one here affects all of those: the relationship, the health, the productivity. And you have to, and believe it or not, making the decision is a skill. It's not, and throughout life, I know I have made this decisions that were wrong.
Me
But
too.
it's a learning experience. But I think self-improvement is also a learning uh, experience, trying to better yourself. I know that now I'm better, much better than when I was younger. When I was young, I made lots of mistakes. I still make mistakes too now, but you're silly, and your mind, your thinking is not right, and so forth. And so you have a tendency to, and then I really didn't know how to map out my plan, or nothing like that. A lot of these things are not taught to you, and if it is taught to you, then you're blessed. Okay. Um, but as a whole, we're not taught. We might be taught the health part, take care of your body and all that stuff like that. But as far as how to deal with relationships and productivity and all of those things, I think I've learned a lot of that later on in my life. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I want to first go back to the decision making, and I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to go kind of deep on this one. Uh,
Okay.
Sometimes people, you have your ordinary decision making, and you have your investment decision making. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, but you have to still try. You have to be that risk taker. But sometimes you may have a loved one that's in a very serious situation, and you have to be the decision maker to make life and death situations.
That's right.
And I mean, you don't have time to sleep on it. There's no, it's like they're in ER, ICU, and you are the one to make the decision. You have to, I mean, I have been in a situation where
I
I
mean,
had to
that's
remove,
now
oh,
with my mom.
yeah,
It
that's
was that
tough.
was, yeah, it's
And
tough.
so I had to remove all emotion, and everybody can't do it. But
No.
in order for me to make the decision, I had to remove all emotion and listen to what the physicians are saying. What are my options? What are my alternatives? Ask my questions and then make a decision. And whether that decision, when the person, survived the scenario, which they did, they still were okay with my decision. I mean, you have to be able to be okay if they like your decision or not after the fact. I mean, it's just one of those like very delicate scenarios, and everybody will have these type of decisions at some point. And it could be, it could be the person is alive or the person is deceased, and you got to make funeral arrangements. I mean, it's everybody has to make like very crucial and very serious decisions that impact someone else.
Yeah.
And to me, you can only make the best informed decision that you know at that time, and you have to be able to let that go.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll have some kind of guilt. You did the best you could with the knowledge that you had at that time.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what happened with me, because I told you, my mom has dementia, and uh no one else in my family has had that dementia, and I really didn't know that she was really sick. The I was trying to get some help for her at home because she was getting old and she needed some help. So, and they sent a doctor out to examine her, and they called me and told me that she had dementia. And that was I aware of it, which I didn't know anything about dementia. So I said no, and they told me that it was at the stage where people would start taking advantage of her. So I tried to talk to her, but she was like in denial.
Mhm.
And so she was still driving and doing things, but she was very forgetful. She would get lost when she would go places and everything. You know, she had a couple of run-ins with the police because she, you know, ran a light or, you know, just things. And so I had tried to talk to her, but you know, when they're in denial, it's impossible to talk. And so the late I got someone to keep her and to come in and help her. But the lady got sick one day and she didn't come. And I called all day for my mom. And the following day, you know, my mom didn't want me to call and talk to the lady while she was. So I tried to wait till she got home. And when I called her, she said that she went by there and she wasn't there. And so, you know, I panicked, you know, but, you know, sometimes I do know she goes out. But make a long story short, I had to file a police report. And what she did was she was driving on the expressway and she stopped, parked the car, got out, and was walking. And it just so happened, and we were blessed. It just so happened that a state trooper found her. She couldn't remember, she could remember her name, but she could not remember um, my phone number. She could only remember the first three letters of my phone number. So she had been, and they had taken her to the hospital, and she was, I guess they were evaluating. And if I had not followed up on that, then we, you know, I wouldn't have found her, but I filed a police report and they came. And so the hospital told us that she could not go back home. And I had to make a decision. They said that she had to go to a facility. And so that is why she's in that facility, because they said that she was a danger to herself as well as a danger to someone else. And that was such a hard, it was so hard for me to make that decision. Plus find a facility because we only had about 14 days to find a facility for. And she was bitter. I'm not gonna lie to you. She was very, very bitter because even though she has dementia, she's high functioning. Okay, so all of her memory hasn't gone. She has short term. She can remember something that happened years and years and years ago, but as far as something going on right now, no, she can't remember that. So that was very difficult to make that decision. So decision making is like I said, I think that is the most important one. And until you in that predicament or in that, you just don't know. But I'm still blessed to have my mom, and we have good times together and all those things. So,
You know
and
what,
she
Anna?
loves me now.
Yeah, she loves you now. And you know one thing I need to say, because when you did the video, when we were in this challenge, and you showed your mom's facility, that's when I first realized what the situation was. And it's a beautiful facility. I mean, I don't even know the inner workings on a day to day, but just what I glimpsed, it was one of your out and about videos. I was very impressed with the level of care. And then for
Well, that
you
was
to
important to me. That was
yeah,
important. Yeah.
and then you just opened up a channel. When I say channel, like you opened up today, this evening, to somebody here that's watching the live and wherever we decide to share it, if we decide to share it, that this is going to make somebody else's decision a little bit easier, to be able to understand that they're not the only one in this very challenging situation, that they can overcome it and they can start trying to process it. Karen says she works with people who had dementia, so she can kind of relate to what you're saying, because the whole journey is not easy. I mean, I'm not there with either one of my parents. They still have their faculties and they're still, functioning pretty well, and so I can't relate to that journey, but I can relate to you having to oversee your parents' care, and you are way more involved than I am right now because my parents' health is pretty good. And so the reality of this conversation, that's centered around self-improvement, you still have to do self-care for yourself because you have so much, that's a lot of stress on you. And so people don't realize when you are the decision maker, you're also the caretaker. You also have to go and show up to spend time with your mom. You know, it's a lot to balance.
And
And
you know, I was part of a support group, and that is one of the main things that they encourage. You know, you need to take time for yourself, you know, as well, because you can become ill just by doing this with all of the pressures and stuff like that on you. But I think I'm handling it pretty well.
exceptionally well. I mean, you are a role model for other people. I mean, we may joke around and have a good time in our lives, but you always say something as a takeaway that someone, I mean, I think you say things that resonate with other people. And I think that's why, like, I know, okay, y'all, some of my friends now are her friends. She's just been taken over my timeline. So that's why I know her message is strong because I'm like looking at like, they your friends now, really? But okay. But that tells me a lot about you and your persona. So that's why I love to connect with you every week. And like we PM each other all the time. We check on each other. I think it's important to, you know, you're just not collaborating with nobody. You're just actually building a relationship. And I feel like we have a relationship at this point.
And you
And I
know,
thank you.
I think that I thank you too. But I think I needed to share my story because people need to know, because this is a disease where people might be ashamed and they
Yeah.
shouldn't. You know, we did. I do activities with her, and we did one just here recently. I'm sure you saw the
I
pictures
saw the
of
picture. Mhm.
it's the Good Memories Chorale, which is a choir for dementia patients and their caregivers. And it was a rewarding experience. And I was honored because they asked me to speak and to tell about my journey with my mom, you know, because my mom was brilliant. She was a brilliant woman and
Mhm.
very smart, you know. Just to give you an idea, she could do the crossword puzzles in the what is that? The New York Wall Street Journal.
She was at another level.
Yes,
I
she
hit the little baby ones, okay?
I can't even do the regular ones, okay? But she was brilliant. And, you know, they don't have too much research on dementia, and there's different types of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I think that that is a disease where it affects people who are very, very smart. You know, remember Marie Shriver?
Mm-hmm.
Father had Alzheimer. And Alzheimer, people think of Alzheimer, but Alzheimer is really a form of dementia. And where they just lose everything, you know. And he didn't even know her, but he was brilliant. You know, he was the one that developed the Peace Corps and all of that. So I, they don't have any research, and the only way they can get research is after you die, and you have to sign a thing so that they can, you know,
Mm-hmm.
do your brain. But I don't want to get off the topic of because our topic basically was on self-improvement, and I need to share this story because you know that's my platform, is to help people live a healthier life and have that mindset. And you need to know and be aware, because I wasn't aware. At one point, I just thought cancer was the worst sickness that you could have. But this one, when you lose your mind and those type of things, it's just that's what it is. But I'm dealing with it, and she seems to be very, very happy. And I try to work on self improvement and personal development every day because I need it. I really do need it.
I can relate to that. I'm always looking on that self-improvement journey. And so I'm going to really get my calendar. I bought a new calendar and I'm going to put an area every week for personal
God, we
development.
got so much alike.
I mean, because I do personal development on my commute. I save my Facebook lives and I put it on my phone, and then I hook it up to my car, and I just play one video after the next after the next. So I get my personal development in, but I need to be very consistent with it. And so that's why I'm going to put it on my calendar. So at the end of each week, I need to have had so many hours for personal development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I enjoy talking about self-improvement. That was one of my, I love self-improvement and personal
Okay.
development. And I don't think
So
you ever get too old for it.
you don't. And those people that missed part one, because we had a little technical difficulty for some reason, my iPad just went black. Okay. So we had to come back on, and we had a very serious talk in part two. So you're part of the part two conversation. So please check Anna out in her profile. I'm sure you're going to collect about 10 more of my friends today. Okay. I see them. They all on your lives too.
Yeah, I have picked up a few friends along the way.
That's great. I love it. I love it, Anna. I love it because that tells me that they are connecting with your message, and that's what it's all about. And so we're going to come back next week. We don't know what topic we're going to do, so we'll be behind the scenes chatting. And so, is there anything, Anna, you wanted to share? And we want to thank everybody from coming on and watching part one and part two. And so we will drop those comments in the part one, those websites that we talked about. We'll drop it in part one. And if you have questions about dementia, it seems, Anna's pretty open. She shared it in public. So make sure you connect with her. I mean, you never know. There may be resources she knows about and resources you know about. And so I think it'd be great. Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, I have lots of resources. I'm affiliated with the Northwestern University Hospital, which is part of Northwestern University, and they have some excellent programs there and nice resources. I mean, in the support group, they went over everything from the lawyer to everything. So I have no problem in passing on information. It doesn't matter where you live, that that there's a connect. They gave us a list of lawyers, a list of places where we could go, places, and then they do the memory cafe where they go and you can bring your dementia patient there, and they do activities. They dance, they sing, it's fun. They did a scrapbook. They brought pictures so they do a lot of activities to try to keep that mind functioning. It's just that my mom, I'm fortunate because she's high functioning. There are some that there's Lewy body, there's Alzheimer, there's vascular. And I didn't even know that. I didn't know that there was different types. So it's been a learning experience for me, and I don't mind passing those things on to anyone else, because a lot of people are caregivers and they don't say anything, and they're going through the same thing. Because I would talk sometimes, even in the support group that I was in, they would not ask questions. And I was one of the ones always asking questions, and deep down, and then later on they said, well, we wanted to know, but they were afraid because they're in denial. It's hard. It's hard, and even with my mom's sister, she was in denial. So, but the best thing is to make them happy and to have them have the rest of their life be fulfilled. I think so. So if you feel like asking me questions, I have no problem with it. If I don't know, I'll find out for you.
Well, I have an idea I'll PM you about.
Okay.
My mind is going, okay?
Okay,
but,
that's okay.
We're going to definitely be back with everyone on next week. And we'll I'll post a graphic on what the topic is, because we're going to have to talk behind the scenes like we normally do. And make sure you have some gold on or blue on.
Okay, I'm going to be laid out for you.
I'm coming next week.
We got a new chapter sweater. I haven't even worn it yet because we were supposed to be taking a picture in it. Okay. I think I'm going to pull it out and wear it then.
Come on. I got about 5. Okay, we can just rotate it on out.
Oh, does yours have your chapter name on it?
No, it doesn't. Don't be hating on me.
Look, mine's got life member 913 on it.
You know what? And that's lovely. That's lovely. I respect that. And I know your mom was a Sarah too, and still is. And you know, that's how we got connected. And so for those of you that are joining us, we have this ongoing thing when we go live. Do you have your blue and gold on? Some blue and gold on? And so I bust Anna all the okay. You get a pass. You get a pass. Okay.
Scott's got a little blue and gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm sure some of you were touched by and you enjoyed our live today. It was a two-parter, but it was juicy. It was good. It was fantastic. And I thank you, Anna. And we're going to be back on next week. So I want to thank everybody and say bye.
See you later.